Dao longevity, the pursuit of eternal existence. The meaning of Dao longevity. Dao longevity represents the pursuit of extending life through cultivation, refinement, and alignment with the Dao. It is not simply about living longer in a physical sense, but about transcending the ordinary limitations of mortality and evolving into a higher state of existence. In cultivation philosophy, all living beings are born with limited vitality and lifespan. Time gradually weakens the body, drains energy, and leads inevitably toward death. Tao longevity is the attempt to resist this process, to preserve vitality, refine existence, and move closer to eternity. However, Tao longevity is not merely survival, it is the refinement of life itself. A cultivator who seeks longevity is not only trying to avoid death, but also attempting to deepen their understanding of existence, strengthen their connection to the Tao, and stabilize their body, soul, and consciousness against the erosion of time. Mortality and the limits of life. Mortality is one of the fundamental conditions of existence. Every ordinary being experiences growth, aging, decline, and death. This cycle is part of the natural order maintained by heaven and the Tao. Mortals have limited vitality, fragile bodies, and restricted awareness, making their existence temporary and unstable. Cultivators begin their path by recognizing these limitations. The awareness of mortality creates the desire to seek something beyond ordinary life. This desire is the root of Tao longevity. The cultivator understands that strength alone is meaningless if life remains short and unstable, so they pursue methods that can preserve vitality and delay decay. The relationship between qi and longevity. Qi is deeply connected to life and longevity. It sustains the body, nourishes the organs, and supports consciousness. In cultivation, refining qi improves vitality, strengthens the body, and slows the effects of aging. The more refined and stable the qi, the more efficiently the body functions and the longer it can endure. However, ordinary qi refinement only extends life to a limited degree. To achieve true Tao longevity, the cultivator must go beyond simple accumulation of energy and fundamentally transform their existence. This requires refinement not only of qi, but also of the body, soul, and Tao heart. Refinement of the body. The body is the vessel of life. If the vessel is weak, it cannot sustain longevity. Tao longevity therefore involves continuous refinement of the physical body, strengthening it against decay and improving its compatibility with energy. Through cultivation, the body becomes more resilient, adaptable, and stable. Injuries heal more efficiently, aging slows, and vitality increases. At higher levels, the body may undergo qualitative transformations, becoming less dependent on ordinary biological functions and more aligned with spiritual energy. This refinement is gradual. Each cultivation stage improves the body's structure and efficiency, preparing it to handle greater amounts of qi and sustain longer existence. Refinement of the soul. Longevity is not only physical. Even if the body survives, a weak or unstable soul cannot endure indefinitely. The soul contains consciousness, memory, and identity, making it essential for true longevity. Cultivators therefore refine the divine soul alongside the body and qi. A stronger soul enhances perception, stabilizes consciousness, and resists external influence. At advanced stages, the soul may become independent of the body, allowing the cultivator to survive even if the physical vessel is destroyed. This transition marks a major step toward Tao longevity, as the cultivator is no longer entirely dependent on physical form for existence. Tao heart and longevity. A stable Tao heart is essential for longevity. Emotional instability, obsession, and inner conflict create imbalance, disrupting cultivation and weakening vitality. The Tao heart provides mental clarity and stability, allowing the cultivator to maintain consistent progress and resist internal collapse. Cultivators seeking longevity often emphasize calmness, patience, and balance. They avoid excessive emotional fluctuation and cultivate mental discipline, understanding that instability accelerates decline while clarity supports preservation. Longevity versus immortality. Dao longevity and immortality are related but not identical. Longevity refers to extending life and delaying decay, while immortality implies complete transcendence of mortality. A cultivator with great longevity may live for thousands of years, but they can still die from injury, tribulation, or soul destruction. Immortality represents a higher state where the cultivator is no longer bound by ordinary aging or natural death. Dao longevity is often viewed as the path leading toward immortality, with each stage of refinement bringing the cultivator closer to complete transcendence. The cost of longevity. Longevity is not achieved without cost. Cultivation requires time, effort, resources, and sacrifice. Many cultivators spend centuries refining themselves, enduring hardship and isolation in pursuit of extended life. There is also the danger of imbalance. Excessive attachment to longevity can lead to obsession, causing the cultivator to fear death so intensely that they lose sight of the Tao itself. This attachment creates instability and can ultimately hinder progress. True Tao longevity requires balance. The cultivator must value life without becoming consumed by fear of death. Heaven and longevity. Heaven maintains the balance of life and death. Excessive longevity disrupts this balance, which is why cultivators face tribulations and resistance as they grow stronger. Heaven imposes limits to prevent uncontrolled transcendence, forcing cultivators to prove that they are worthy of extended existence. This conflict between the cultivator and heaven reflects the deeper meaning of Tao longevity. It is not simply about extending life, but about overcoming the restrictions imposed by existence itself. Cycles of life and death. Tao longevity does not reject the existence of death. Instead, it seeks to understand and transcend it. Life and death are part of a cycle where growth leads to decline and decline leads to renewal. Cultivators study this cycle, learning how vitality flows and how decay occurs. By understanding these processes, they can slow or alter them, extending life and preserving stability. This approach emphasizes comprehension rather than blind resistance. Higher stages of longevity. At advanced levels, longevity becomes increasingly profound. The cultivator's body may no longer age, their soul may exist independently, and their consciousness may expand beyond ordinary perception. Time loses much of its influence, and existence becomes more stable and enduring. Some cultivators eventually transcend physical form entirely, existing as pure spiritual or energetic beings. At this stage, longevity approaches eternity, though complete immortality may still remain beyond reach. The psychological meaning of longevity. Tao longevity also carries psychological and philosophical meaning. It reflects humanity's desire to preserve existence, continue growth, and avoid the finality of death. This desire is not purely selfish but connected to curiosity, understanding, and the pursuit of transcendence. The path of longevity forces cultivators to confront deep questions about meaning, attachment, and purpose. Living longer is meaningless without growth, understanding, and direction. True longevity therefore involves not only extending time, but deepening existence. Final reflection. The true meaning of Tao longevity. Tao longevity is the pursuit of enduring existence through refinement of body, qi, soul, and mind. It is not merely about avoiding death, but about transcending limitation and aligning more deeply with the Tao. Through cultivation, the individual gradually transforms, moving beyond ordinary mortality and approaching higher states of life. This path requires balance, understanding, and persistence. It demands not only strength, but also clarity and discipline. Longevity without wisdom becomes obsession, while wisdom without vitality cannot sustain growth. In the end, Tao longevity represents the desire to continue evolving, to move beyond temporary existence, and to seek a deeper connection with the nature of reality itself. It is the path of preserving life not out of fear, but out of the belief that existence can always be refined into something greater.